Welcome to a Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm here to help guide heartfelt conversations with new and old friends I've met from just being alive or touring my music around North America and other parts of the world. I chat with people I feel a kinship with and that I genuinely believe we can learn from. Our personal stories have great power to heal, influence, and inspire. All we have to do is show up for the conversation.
We just talk about it. We could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day.
Hey there. So, a bit of a break between the last episode we posted with my dear friend Ryan McGrath and this one today. The reason for that, if you're curious, was Dale was away. He had this great gig. Dale, for any new listeners, Dale Murray, who's engineers and co-produces this podcast, A Chat with Heart, with me, and he's actually sitting right in front of me. I'm looking at his back while he's staring at his console as I record this introduction. Hi, Dale.
Hi.
Dale was away. He got a great summer gig acting and performing in a movie. So he was on tour in Europe for a portion of the summer, performing in a band called the Shit Rockers. And they were opening for Billy Bob Thornton at some venues around Europe. And that was really exciting for him. And now he's back. And he's busy all the way up until we are both leaving for a fall tour, 36 tour dates in Europe. When the album comes out, new album comes out September 1st. And so he's back and we're able to finish up 2 episodes, this one and another one. And that'll wrap up season 2 of A Chat with Heart podcast. I'm excited to take a little break because during that break, we'll be doing what we love and getting out and playing and singing for people. And you know what? I'm going to be even more excited and dreaming and scheming my guests for season 3. So in the meantime, if you're new, you can catch up to 20 episodes of season 1, 20 episodes of season 2, and then you'll be all caught up and ready for season 3. And don't forget, there's a heartbeat hotline you can call and leave a message, ask a question, leave a prank voicemail. Maybe it'll make it to a podcast episode in the future. If you want to call the heartbeat hotline, dial 1-902-669-4769. You could leave your question for me anytime. So my guest today, Rudie Hayes, was one of the first to play my music in the United Kingdom. And also the first to chat with me in person on a radio show, I believe, in the UK. And when we performed in York, I think this would have been for the first time maybe back in 2014, 15. Rudie came to the show and he reviewed the show and for Americana UK. And Rudie introduced me to his awesome family, Cheryl, and their 2 sons, Johnny and Frank. And his son, Frank, has been a pen pal of mine ever since. So I'm really happy to share this chat with a longtime supporter of my creative endeavors. And not just mine, he's been supporting loads of other musicians from around the globe. People ask me all the time, how do you get your music heard? And the short answer is with the help of people like Rudie. Rudie is an ecologist, an environmentalist, a forester. He's based in the UK. He's an advocate for the health and benefits of the woodlands. He's a runner. He's a football coach. He's a total music nerd. He's written on Americana, folk, and acoustic artists for over 20 years. He's been a promoter, a drummer, a supporter of festivals, and he's not dead yet. Like, there's more to come from Rudie Hayes. His passion has always been radio. He hosted the award-winning Horseshoe Lounge radio show for 5 years, as well as founding a local community station in his adopted hometown of York. And I love radio, and I love Rudie Hayes. I hope you enjoy this delightful chat with one of my longtime supporters and friends. And for those of you listening in the UK, I have posted most, if not all, of my 2024 UK tour dates. We'll be promoting my new album, Storm. And since our 2020 tour was canceled due to the pandemic, we had put out a stripped down album called Wonderful Lies. So we'll have that with us as well. It's going to be Dale and me back in the UK again. We look forward to seeing all of you at the shows. Here's my chat with Rudie Hayes. I want to start by reading you some of my most beautiful postcards from your son, Frank. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, listen, so Frank and I... hi, Frank.
So what I should tell you is that Frank won't write. Okay? So, like, he won't write. He doesn't like to write.
Yeah.
He won't hold a pen. He's not interested in writing. He won't make his mark. He won't sign his name. He won't do his signature. He won't do anything. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like how it looks. He doesn't like doing it. He doesn't enjoy it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
There is only one person he has ever written to. Not his grandma, not his nanny, not his tide, not girlfriends, not boyfriends, not his mum, not his dad. There is only ever one person that he has ever written to.
I'm the only one.
You are the only one.
And I am so honored. And I've kept all the postcards.
Mm-hmm.
I read them sometimes, and it reminds me of our special, I think, relationship. So I should tell our listeners that the intention of these was to make each other laugh. I don't have the ones I sent him. I can only imagine what horrible things I've said to Frank.
So he has a dressing table with a glass top, with a piece of glass on the top, a wooden dressing table with a glass top, and under it we slide tickets, things, from that he's done, and your postcards.
Oh my God. I want to come visit, and I want to see that. I want to compare the burns because his are really good. Okay, so
yeah.
I'll just start by reading some of these. I also want to say that I had the absolute privilege and pleasure of meeting your mom, who I don't know if she approved of this relationship I have with Frank. I think she was a little concerned, perhaps, when she read the postcards initially, and I'm so sorry for your loss. But I have such fond memories of my visit with Dale at your house, and your mom was there. And so I apologize if I don't know if she's paying attention somewhere.
I think I would be more of jealousy because she couldn't get Frank to write. So she would send Frank things in the post, and and he would go, "Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Manny." But you'd never get a reply.
Damn, she was really jealous of me that whole time. Fuck. Okay. This one has on the front of the postcard it says North Yorkshire Moors Railway, and it has it has these old I don't know, like coal trains. And,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Frank says...
so do you have the TV show Heartbeat?
No.
It's an English TV show, and it's like a retro thing going back in time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like after the war type thing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's really numb. It's like it's kind of soap opera Sunday night kind of family viewing thing, and it's shot on this railway line.
Oh, cool!
It's sort of about this kind of railway line. Yeah,
that's a fun fact. Okay, so Frank said. So here's some trains here on the front, 4. He says, "Here, Christina, are some old boilers, just like you." So here's another postcard from Frank, and it's a lovely image of a kitty cat on the front, and I think it's like there's like some music notes on there, and it's playing a flute or something, and this is what Frank wrote to me. "Christina, my cat licks its bum. So do you. Love, Frank." I mean, I love that he ends it with a very loving, like how,
Yeah. I mean, he held you in quite high esteem.
Yeah, clearly. Okay, this one is, it says House of Parliament in London, London, England. I don't know if there's another. Yeah, there's a London, Ontario, so I guess I should clarify.
It has a House of Parliament in Ontario?
We have Houses of Parliament in Ontario, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And not in London, Ontario, though.
Okay.
They're in Ottawa. So, anyway, there's some double-decker buses going across a big bridge. But the point is Houses of Parliament. That's what we're seeing on the postcard. And Frank writes, "Here, Christina, is where we keep dull old people. You should be here. Frank."
Yeah. Okay.
This one's great too. I love the brevity of some of them. There's a bunch of farm animals on the front of this. This one was a postcard from the Maverick Festival.
It was, yeah. So the horse on the front of there, that's the Suffolk Punch.
What does that mean?
On the front of there. So it's a special type of horse that you only get at Maverick Festival in the area where Maverick is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You don't get that horse anywhere else in the UK.
Very cool. Well, I think he's referring to the horse when he says on the postcard, "Hey, Christina, you've got a big head. Love, Frank." This one's great too. The picture on the front is is some guy jumping up, doing the splits in the air, and he's got like a very big smiley expression on his face. "Dear Christina, you have a weasel bum face. Love, Frank." That's good.
I don't think that's true, is it?
Well,
do you have weasels? Do you have weasels in Canada?
We have weasels. Yeah, we do. And I don't know. It depends. I mean, like sometimes when I wake up, my face doesn't look that great. I mean, I do wear makeup and stuff. Not much today, but anyway, this one is this lovely postcard. It says, "Let's grow old together" on the front, and there's a tree and a picture of a human holding the tree's hand. It says, "This tree," Frank says, "this tree stump looks like your legs." I think because it's kind of chunky and wide, and I thought that was hilarious because that could happen. Not now, but like someday I could get. And then
and the same color, maybe.
Yeah, the same color. Yeah. Particularly if I suffer from poor circulation at some point, or varicose veins overtake me. I think Frank must know that I'm afraid of worms. In this postcard he sent me on the front, there is a worm and some other woodland animals. And he says, "Christina, this worm reminds me of you. Love, Frank." This is my favorite, I think. It's this front of the postcard. It's black with white text. It says, "Don't want to be an American idiot." And on the back, Frank says, "Dear Christina, you're already a Canadian one. Love, Frank." And thus concludes the segment called Postcards. Frank says.
Unkind things my son says about Christina.
Oh my gosh, I want to have him on someday, and I want him to read the ones I sent him. But let's start out by chatting about where we met. Let's let the listeners know. I mean, I know when we first met in person. It was on your radio show, Horseshoe Lounge radio show. But
you were on before that, not in person, but you were on recorded down the line before that. You were my only down the line person recorded before that.
Because you had to have people in person?
Well, yeah, I always... I used to produce a radio show called the Horseshoe Lounge music session.
Award-winning.
On a local independent station here in the UK. And I used to, at the same time as I was doing that, I used to work for a website called Americana UK, which I guess is trying to get the Americana music sound, old country sound, sort of more widely known in the UK. It's run by a bunch of nerdy enthusiasts, of which I was one at the time. And at the same time as I had this community radio show thing that did quite well for a while. And I got given your album to review. So we used to get given, whatever it was, 10 albums a month or something to review, which is I reviewed. And I reviewed your album. And then I think you wrote and said, thank you for the album review. So I clearly did a nice job or said nice things about it at the time. Yeah. And I'd said, oh, do you want to come on my radio show? And at the time I was sort of experimenting with the technology. This is pre-COVID and all of that sort of stuff. And we weren't doing this whole down the line thing. And you came on and we managed to work out the time differences and all of those sorts of things. And I recorded you live into the studio and we played some tracks with a view to hopefully using that to generate some press, to get you to be able to come to the UK and then play some gigs and all of that sort of stuff.
It worked.
And yeah, it worked. Yeah. And then you came on 2 or 3 more times after that, including playing in my hometown too.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. We had a lovely visit. I want to hear more about York in a second, but I do credit you as one of the big reasons, you and my publicist, Steve Rose in the UK, because when we get these great write-ups, which you are a really great writer, like you are a music nerd, you love music, you are really good at writing about music, which, is actually a dying art form, particularly over here. And we're oftentimes, looking for the great write-ups from writers in your neck of the woods. And so you are a dying breed. And unfortunately, and I don't know why, I'm going to assume it's because people stopped paying people and everybody's busy and overworked. I don't know.
I also think people don't read. Like, the thing about Americana UK is if I wanted to write 350 words about an album, I could write 350 words about an album. If I wanted to write 30 about an album, I could also write 30. It doesn't matter if the album is good or bad. If I had 30 good words to say about it, I could write a review. There was no editorially. You were allowed to say the things that you wanted to say in the space that you did, but you had to be able to stand by the thing that you'd written about. The other thing as well is that now it's not so much. It's not so uncommon because there's a sort of groundswell of a sort of undercurrent of kindness in things, and that whole if you can't say something kind, then just don't say it. And if you get 10 albums to review in a month, and it's not your job, it's just because you like listening to people's records and hopefully putting some words out to it. If somebody sends you a record and you don't like it, I didn't like every record that I got sent. I didn't review every record I got sent. I just said nice things about the records that I thought were nice records, or if I thought the record was interesting or had something to say or was some different in some way, or brought a new or a different slant on something that a UK audience may not hear or be able to access as well, then I would say something about it. You have almost like a duty, or I felt there was a duty to, if you have something nice to say, then say it. But also if you can inform in some way or another, then you should use your ability, however that is, to inform as well at the same time. And now it's really hard to get somebody to read more than 150 words. I was asked reasonably recently to write an album review. I'd written an album review for somebody. They liked my album review, and they said, could I boil down a version to write for a tabloid newspaper? They wanted 40 words. I'd written, 300, 400 words, and they wanted me to turn that into 40 words for a tabloid newspaper. It's really hard to boil that down into the essence of why I like the thing in the first place. Mm-hmm. And you almost end up saying, it's 10 tracks long and it's got guitars on it and there's a male and female voice. 40 words is done. It doesn't really tell you anything or give you any flavor of the thing that you're trying to comment on. And so, yeah. So when you get a record, like the record that I got sent that was yours, and I liked it, you say something nice about it. You hope somebody reads it. Ideally, the artist reads it, amongst everything else, and they think, yeah, that person's either understood the thing that I've tried to do, or they found something in it that I didn't know myself. That's happened to me a few times. I've heard something that they didn't really mean, but they can see where I've got the essence of it from. And then hopefully they like the thing that you've said, and then hopefully other people like the thing that you like, and you get to go see them, or they get to make another record or something along those lines.
Something you said earlier was interesting. It made me think of just the way that you listen to an album that somebody sends you, or like anybody out, wanting to just kind of broaden your your what you are listening to. I guess you could try listening for the interesting things you may not like you may not be into hip hop, but can you listen to it from sort of the seat of just like, is there anything in there I find interesting or unique, or like listening it not from like, I'm a fan of house music, dance music. Listen to it just with complete openness for something unique and different. And
I mean, I've got, as well as Frank, I have another son. So I got two teenage boys. So I got a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old. And clearly the music that a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old is absolutely not the music that a 50-something-year-old is listening to. And my music to them is just like ancient and slow and unintelligible, as theirs is to me. And that is absolutely the way that it should be. But when the younger boy, he likes, or not now so much, but 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when he was finding his way in music and discovering what he liked, he likes Stormzy and Dave and all of that sort of UK South London grime thing. And does it speak to me?
Never heard of them.
No, it doesn't really speak to me. And I don't really understand the rhythms and the timings and the so forth. But in a way, it's captured a moment in time that The Cure or the Smiths or something captured to me at their time, and it speaks to you in that moment in time. And what you hope is that musical literacy that you gain then, or artistic literacy that you gain at that point, is of a sufficient quality, or you have a sufficient connection with it, that then that grows from that point. And, do I like to listen to Stormzy? Not particularly. Do I think that he produces stuff of worth and of merit? Absolutely. He's probably the most important artist to come out of the UK in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And he has shaped everything that comes behind it. Do I understand it? Not particularly. Does it appeal to me? Not especially. But do I see its value and its worth? Yeah. 100%. The impact that then has on my son, his chums, to want to listen to music, to want to play music, to want to just have music on when they're doing whatever the shit is that they're doing all of the time, and surround themselves with it. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah.
And that you hope that in whatever it is, 40 years time, 30 years time, when Johnny is me, and maybe he has children too, they're also saying to him, what the hell is this you listen to, etc., etc. And the cycle self-perpetuates.
Yeah.
At the same time, Johnny will listen to Oasis and Blur and all those very English things that are our musical core DNA, that no matter how many times we go, well, the guitar is dead, eventually that, Stones, Beatles axis bubbles to the top, whether it's Oasis in, well, not quite my generation, but the generation sort of slightly after me, Cure and the Smiths, my generation, Oasis followed behind it. Now you've got Sam Fender, all of that. It comes through time and time again. And you just hope that you can provide people, including your own kids, with enough musical literacy that they can go out and find their own things and hunt for stuff. And when people say, I like a bit of everything, no, you don't. You don't like Iron Maiden and the thing. What you don't know, what you haven't got, is the musical literacy to know what it is that you want, and then to go on that discovery and find it. And there's plenty of things that'll pop up on Spotify, and I think it's absolutely awful. But there's plenty of, for every time that happens, there's something that will stop you in your tracks and go, oh, that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I really like. And particularly when you work in music, and you aren't a musician, which is me, you're looking for those moments that make you stop and go, oh, what is that? Or that's an interesting phrase. Or I really like the way that isn't the chorus there. That's something else that comes in, and we only get that bit once. And why is that 5 bars and not 4? And whatever it is that the thing that stimulates you. And that's the thing that you're always looking for, because that gives you copy. That gives you words. That stimulates you to, makes the synapses run and makes you want to put the thing on a piece of paper and send it to your editor, and hopefully he doesn't think you're a pretentious idiot.
Yeah. Okay, so
he probably does think you're a pretentious idiot, and normally you are a pretentious idiot, but
Wait a minute, did you just say guitar is dead? Like, should I not bring Dale with me to the UK? Is that...
you can just send Dale, as far as I'm concerned, that.
Just send him, right, yes. Yeah, I'm sure people wouldn't be disappointed. We are going to start just putting his face on the poster. And so
or just a poster just for me.
Yeah, just for you. Oh, believe me, there'll be others who want to pick that up. You did not grow up in New York. Where did you grow up, and what were those? You said you already mentioned some of them, but I want you to go into it again, because I'm sure you miss. Who was the musical? What was the musical love for you?
Yeah, so so those of you that because obviously your listenership will be worldwide. So I'm in the UK. You're talking to me in the UK, and the UK is effectively a sort of triangle. A right-angled triangle, to all intents and purposes, with Scotland at the top, London in the bottom right-hand corner, and then I grew up on the point of the triangle on the far extreme left. So I'm closer to France than I am to London. I'm actually closer to France than the nearest city to where I grew up in the UK. So from my parents' window, you could see France on a sunny day. So 22 miles from France, in what we call the southwest.
Yep.
And a county called Devon, which has Plymouth in it, the naval port at one end, and Exeter, the medieval city, at the other. And I grew up in a very small market town, seaside town on the coast, on the edge of Devon. Really idyllic, working class family, all of those sorts of things. Not particularly musical parents. My parents liked music. They weren't musical. They didn't play. But music was around us. My mum was obsessed with Elvis. She loved Elvis. My dad liked Dr. Hook and Bread and the Eagles and all of that sort of stuff. And so it was around us all the time. My parents always had the radio on. We didn't really watch TV or have TV, in fact, for quite a long time. Growing up, my parents had a TV, but we didn't have a sort of family TV. We sat together at meal times. We didn't watch TV. That sort of stuff, and music was around us all the time. My dad had one of those, what we would call a ghetto blaster back then, with the big speakers and the handle and all the rest of it. Yeah. And he used to own cassettes, and he used to listen to, like I say, Dr. Hook and Bread and Simon and Garfunkel and stuff like that. So very 70s safe kind of stuff. And I guess that looking back at that now, I can see that's why I like a harmony. That's why I like a kind of more chilled, kind of relaxed thing to what I've got a country tinge to stuff. Yeah. And my mum, she was really into Elvis and country music. She loved Don Williams. Absolutely loved Don Williams. And I was only listening to Don Williams a couple of days ago. Actually, I still listen to Don Williams now. It's got a voice like a warm bath. It's just, every day just feels like, just put that on and it'll be great. Everything will be great that day. So we grew up listening to that. And then my grandfather, who lived very local to us, he sang. I mean, like in a baritone voice, and incredibly loud, and fancied himself as a bit of sort of a Frank Sinatra crooner type. Was a sort of quite a handsome man. Was always very dapper and well dressed, and all the rest of it. It'd be a huge disappointment to him if he saw me in t-shirts and jeans all the time.
No.
And so that's just sort of around. And then I had, all the usual stuff. Played in terrible bands as a youth and through
as
my 20s.
Drummer?
I was a drummer in bands. Yeah, really poor drummer in really poor bands. But was really into that whole late 80s, early 90s UK indie scene. So it was all stuff like Wonder Stuff, Census Things, Mega City 4, Pop Will Eat Itself, all those sort of indie, sort of pre-grunge kind of bands, pre-Britpop. And then obviously Britpop came along and we all thought we were Oasis or Blur or Cast or Pulp or all of these sort of bands. But I was just on the edge of that by being just a bit too old. But I had a drum kit and a good job and an estate car or a van. So I always got in bands because I had all of those three attributes. Yeah. And so then I sort of, and that sort of stuff. But that sort of 80s indie stuff, quite gothy. So Cure, Mission, Sisters of Mercy, all of that sort of stuff. Now I've got absolutely no hair at all, as you're aware, Christina. I'm completely follically challenged. But back then I had hair to my waist and was really into that whole goth scene. Wow. My mum used to dye my hair for me, primrose yellow bathroom sink to make my hair black and all the rest of it. I'll tell you the tale. I've told it before, but I'll tell you the tale. So on a Sunday afternoon, there was a guy called Johnny Walker. He's quite a famous radio DJ here in the UK, spent time in the States. He's really well known, sort of 70s style, FM, AOR kind of music. And really one of those guys that set so many bands on the road to success, discovered bands, played bands, but has got that slightly old-fashioned kind of 80s FM kind of feel. All right, let's go. Let's play it's the Bachman, the tenor, and the overdrive. All right, great mates. Let's play, all of that sort of stuff. WFM 42 and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Spent time in the States, done all the pirate radio stuff. He played Steve Earle, Copperhead Road on the radio. First time I'd ever heard anything like it. And I was sat at my desk in my bedroom. I'd be 14 or 15, something like that. And he played it. And I wrote it down. And on Monday, on my way home from school or college, I forget which, I went and bought it on cassette. And that's basically, at that point, music changed forever. Because at that point, I realized there was something other than the top 40 and the charts. And then from there, I discovered, The Cure and Half Man, Half Biscuit and Steve Earle and the Rainmakers and just a whole plethora of other soundings, Hoodoo Gurus and Tragically Hip, Road Apples. I remember buying that in Plymouth, going down to Plymouth. We'd gone to buy a drum kit and there wasn't anything in the pawn shop. So we were raking around Plymouth, looking at record shops, and I bought Road Apples. And then I just realized there's all this other music that you don't hear.
Yeah.
And then when I realized where you could hear that, late night radio, then I was sold. And then I was obsessed ever since. That's made me want to be on the radio. That made me want to play in bands. That made me want to write about it. That made me want to be in it.
Wow.
That made me want to date the girls that played the bass guitar in the band of the thing that played in the pub. Whatever it was. All of it from that point onwards.
Amazing. That's funny. Steve Earle had I was just so clueless about, I think, a lot of good music until I moved to Austin, and people in Austin were listening to Steve Earle and a long list of, Townes Van Zandt and Lucinda Williams and Wilco, the Jayhawks, Patty Griffin, and that's what changed me.
It's that family tree, it's like, and I don't want to sound like some terrible crusty old fossil, but my kids and the generation below me, that Spotify generation, and they missed that mine that we had, or I had, I'm not including you in this, but that I had, where I would get the sleeve or the cassette record or the whatever, and and lots of people don't, and you were rightly said earlier on, I am a nerd. I absolutely care who played the trumpet on the middle eight, in the middle of whatever, Oh yeah, I can still tell you. I can remember. I was listening to Billy Bragg, and he, until that point, had always done sort of solo records, just him and his guitar or him and Wiggy. And then he made an album called "Waiting for the Great Leap Forward." And on that album, there's a song where he plays, and there's a woman plays the trumpet alongside him, and it's really sad and it's really mournful, and it's beautiful. I mean, it will melt the stoniest of hearts. And I look at the sleeve and go, oh, that's Cara Tivi. Oh, yeah, cool. And I still remember that. That must be 35 years ago. And I still know that Cara Tivi played the trumpet on that particular, because and then you go, oh, I wonder what else she's done. And then you find that she's on Kirsty MacColl's records, and she played with Johnny Marr, and she was in and and you get that family tree, and out you go, and you go, oh, okay, I'll fancy that playing on that record, and then they're on there, and then then you go and see, then you discover bands come to towns, and you can go and see them, and there's universities, and universities have bands on, and you can go there, you can drink horrible beer out of plastic glasses, but you can see all of these bands because they all come around on tour, and when you discover that, then you're lost. That's it. That's the end of your life, and that's how it's going to be for you forever. And still now in my 50s, I'm spending my time going to horrible, dingy rooms to watch with sticky carpet and drinking terrible warm beer out of plastic glasses to go and watch these people that I've then discovered and playing all these places. And it's
great
compunction or an addiction. I don't know, because I'm not the person creating it. It feels like watching a magic show.
Oh, wow.
Because we have this conversation, you and I, or me and Dale have this conversation, and you seem like a perfectly reasonable, normal person to me, and we have a nice conversation. How are you? I'm fine. It's Dale with you, and all of that thing. And then you pick up your guitar, and out of your mouth comes this sound, and you think, where the actual fuck did that come from?
We don't know.
Where do those words come? And there's not a moment that you don't see that and think to yourself, as a non-playing, non-musician person, that you don't go, fuck me, witchcraft. That's the only excuse for that.
Yeah, yes. I did just order a Ouija board. It's coming tomorrow. I often wonder myself, as a musician who writes songs, who's a singer-songwriter, for the months on end sometimes where I'm not writing and I'm, and then we'll go to rehearse and we'll play the song and I'm like, I don't know how to write. Like, I don't even know how I wrote that song. I don't even know. Sometimes you forget, or I literally, there's just more days where I don't feel musical, or I'm not open to it, or you're distracted, you're stressed, whatever. So it's magical to me as well. But even cooler when someone else thinks it's magical because they have to sit and listen, or have chosen, don't have to. They've chosen to, get a ticket and make plans for the night, and they're spending their precious time with you in this super, what I think is such an intimate, opportunity to have this conversation. It's the conversation through song, to connect. But any case, I also am I think witchcraft as well. I think that I'm, definitely should be burned at the stake. So.
What I always think is incredible is that you write a song, or you artists generally write a song about a thing, a set of circumstances, an environment, a condition, a place, whatever it is that stimulates you to do the thing in the first place. Then you put it on a record, Spotify, play it live, whatever it is, and it's in a medium. I then consume that. I'm not really concerned with, majority of the time, why it is, what it is, who it's about, when it's about, that you've written that. It becomes my thing then, because I heard that the first time that I drove to the beach with my new girlfriend. I heard that when I was running in the woods and I saw a deer. Whatever the thing is, it then becomes my thing then. Whereas you paint a painting and it's a lady with a blue hat, everybody looks at it and goes, that's a really good painting of a lady with a blue hat. Yeah. And you might think, lady with a blue hat looks like she knows something. Your pal might look at that and think, well, I don't see the lady with a blue hat looking like she, but it's still a lady with a blue hat. When you make a piece of music, because there's no visualization to it, it's an oral thing. It allows your mind to go to wherever it is that you heard it at a time. And you know yourself, even the shittiest, crappiest, most rubbish of songs, whatever it is, you think to yourself, you can remember it because you were where you were when you saw it, doing the thing that you were doing, and and then it's a straight away trigger. It's you can smell the hot dogs on the barbecue or the whatever it is. No other medium does that. You know, other art forms can move you the same, but they can't give you that memory trigger thing. And you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose. That I hear, Toto Africa or something, and it reminds me of a particular time and a particular setting and a particular set of circumstances. And I don't really like the song very much, I have to confess. But I don't get to choose that becomes a trigger every time I hear it for the thing I was doing at the time that now reminds me of what I was doing at that moment.
Yeah, it's true. I was listening to, I chatted with a friend of mine, Maddie, but his artist name is Graven. He's from the Ottawa Valley. And so to prepare, I was listening to a lot more of his music, which he's a great singer-songwriter. In one of his songs, I'm doing a jog around this loop down by the beach near where I live. And we had a big hurricane this year, and it ripped apart the shoreline. Every couple years it happens, and the shoreline here is literally like people have properties and they're having to move their properties back or spend thousands of dollars on giant rocks to try and preserve their property, their $1 million estates. But in any case, I'm near the end of this loop run and listening to one of his songs, and I see my car, but I'm coming along this part where I'm literally like walking along where this 8 feet of land has been washed away from the storm. And in his song, he sings the line as I'm walking by. He uses this as a metaphor for like this person's, shores have been just ripped apart or whatever regarding a relationship. Anyway, it was just this magical moment, and I was about to interview him, and I had to text him right away. And, and it was just, I was like, how the fuck did that line up? Like, it was, anyway.
Where's that come from, and how do you have that at that moment in that space?
It's just, and I mean, we say all this stuff. It's really fascinating, but I don't know if anyone's doing the research on it. I don't even care to know. I'm just like so grateful that it happens for people, and that someone who sometimes can tap into that magic, and oftentimes doesn't really work out so well. I can tell you from the journals and pages I've burned, but it is magic when it happens, and it's magic to be in the room with a great singer-songwriter. That's what I remember living in Austin and going out on my own to hear singer-songwriters at the encouragement of my host father when I was an au pair. And I didn't know anything about singer-songwriters. Like, I didn't, like, just somebody with their guitar, like not even a band. And I was hooked. Like, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can, but I want to try and do this thing. This is fucking powerful.
Is the compunction that when you're on the outside looking in, because I often think to myself, you hear a song somebody's written, or a piece of music somebody's written, and you think you must have you've written that, and you've gone, hey guys, listen to this. I've got to play this. Play them the tune. And then everybody high fives themselves in the studio and goes home for the rest of the day or the week, because you go, ain't going to get any better than that. But that's not how it is. But to the person on the outside looking in, I was very fortunate. I interviewed Jenny Ritter when she came over to the UK on the show, and I asked her about a particular song, and I asked her. I never asked the artist to play a particular song. It's not my business. If they want to play a particular thing because that's how they feel that day, then play that one. Whatever you're going to play, I'm grateful, because, I'm 2 foot away from you and you're playing it pretty much just for me. So I never asked the artist. The only time I've ever asked the artist to play anything in particular was I asked Jenny Ritter to play this particular song, which she did. And afterwards I was asking her about it, and I said, that must have been a great moment when you wrote that. And you must have just gone, fucking nailed that. That's it. My job here is done. High fives all round. Let's go to the pub. And she said, it just was unremarkable, and I didn't really think I was going to couldn't decide whether I was going to put it on the album or not. It didn't feel that great a thing to me. And she said, and I put it on the album, and now people ask for it all the time. And she said, and it just, to me, it was just, I thought it was nice and it was quite a good tune and I quite like the lyrics and whatever. She said, but everybody else has picked it up and run with it. And I'm just going, yeah, okay. Well, it's pretty good, but I didn't think it was a, and to me, you hear it and you think, okay, high fives all round. This is, you know, hey, do you know what, boys? The day's done. We ain't going to get any better than this pub. Yeah. It's just, it's a, like I say, witchcraft.
You've been involved in like starting radio shows, like from the ground up, programs, community radio, like organizations. And I was curious because I spent a lot of time project managing, you know, like not just writing. There's one thing, I like writing songs, but I also love like, you know, putting together the music videos with the team and all the other shit. I basically, you know, so I'm curious about the behind the scenes of making that happen. And for, you know, you never know who's listening, like, because I think there are a lot of people who would love to run their own podcast or radio show or start something in their community. How the fuck do you do that? And who, like, what are your key people that you need to have involved? I know you've been a creative director, but like, what are some of the key folks?
So radio shows are simple. Podcasts, things are simple. It's getting simpler all the time. We're talking now via Zoom, Teams, whatever. I've got a little USB thing. You can voice track from home. So I do a couple of shows. I do one for a regional station, community station here in the UK. That's about, well, it'll seem nothing to you, but it's about 3.5 hours northwest of where I am. I've never been there. I've never met the people. I just do the show from home.
Wow.
But I also have done in the past syndicated shows, one in the US, one in Canada, actually briefly for a few months, and then one in Australia. Did that for quite a long time when I was doing the Horseshoe Lounge. So I used to do edited versions down for Australian audience and so forth. That bit's reasonably straightforward, and there's lots of people you can see and to do that. To put an FM station on the air, that's a whole other
FM.
thing.
Does anyone do? What's the other one? AM?
Yeah. So
Does that exist
AM
anymore?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but here in the UK, AM is being phased out, and so we're losing the AM signal, and it's being taken in house by the government for military purposes.
Okay.
So we have FM and we have what they call DAB, digital broadcasting. So there's a digital version as well, and so you can apply for a license, and that's reasonably straightforward to do. I used to do my radio show, and it was on a community station, and we were taken over by a third-party commercial station. So there's a difference between community and commercial. Community is not-for-profit, and commercial is obviously has ads and all the rest of it. Community stations also have ads here in the UK, but the idea is that they tend to be sort of self-financing, and there's no shareholders, there's no profit to be made.
No one's getting rich.
Yeah, and they tend to reflect the communities that are in. So here, so we have a huge Asian community in Bradford, which is a city just maybe an hour north of them here, and they'll have. They'll play Bhangra, and they'll play, and they'll have foreign language programs and so forth. Here in York, it's not really that culturally diverse. So, but we tend to reflect, or we tried to reflect the local community. So we would have programs that were reflective of the local community. So we got bought out by a commercial station. When we got bought out by a commercial station, you just go to the set format that most commercial stations were, and gradually, in a very short space of time, they got rid of all the quirky, oddball shows, mine included, and went to a commercial format because they wanted the brand which is broadcasting. I love radio. Yeah. I listen to radio all the time. I'm very lucky living here in the UK. We have the BBC. So we've got a really good, wide range of radio. I can listen to everything from classical music to Bhangra to metal to spoken word to politics to whatever I want to listen to, all on the BBC. So I'm very lucky. I know that that's not open to everybody in every country, and it's worth my £1.64 a day or whatever it cost me in my tax to have the BBC. But the thing about liking radio and enjoying radio is that it's around me all the time. It wakes me up in the morning and I fall asleep to it at the end of the day. And television requires you to be engaged, or indeed it stops the engagement because you have to concentrate and focus on the image. With radio, I can type, I can wallpaper, I can run, I can eat my tea, I can whatever it is I want to do, or indeed do nothing. Just lie in the dark with the lights off, listening to people telling me about the football match, soccer match, whatever it is I want to do. And I've always loved radio and the medium of radio and the people's voices and the cadence and the descriptions and all of those things. And there's no other medium like it. And radio is a sort of fading art. And my kids don't listen to radio. They listen to Spotify because they can listen to what they want to listen to when they want to listen to it. Radio doesn't have that flexibility. But what it gives you is it gives you curated content, and hopefully you find the people that like the things that will inform and educate and support the things that you like, so you get more flavors.
Well, listen, I don't want to keep you much longer, but I do want to leave on a sort of I want to ask you how you are. It's been a while now that we've got this new kind of, I don't know, way of living and functioning in the world. There's before COVID and still in COVID. And, you know, a lot of us have found new ways to try to stay healthy. It's been hard regardless of that. Like, how are you doing now, and what are you looking forward to? Those are two questions, really.
Okay. I'm okay. So good days, bad days, same as everybody else. Cost of living here in the UK has rocketed, and salaries and things have not really kept pace with that. So that's difficult. And people have become more insular and more remote, I think. Half the people are working from home and you don't see them. So those work-based relationships are a bit of a thing of the past. We've also had a bit of a double whammy here in the UK by we voted to leave the European Union, which I know this is not a political podcast, so we'll leave the politics to one side. But holy fuck, what were we thinking of? I mean, that's just fucking mental. Listen,
but, I don't even watch the news that much, and I'm hearing bits of like what their prime ministers now, what they had when they don't, they do, they don't. They're
so we had this sort of collective agreement. Imagine if all the Canadian states decided that just one of them decided, maybe the French-speaking one decided it was going to leave Canada. We've done exactly that, and we've done the leaving of the, of all of the other countries thing. It's not quite states because they're sovereign bodies, but now and then we had COVID, and now everything's really hard. Getting shit is really hard. Getting parts, getting materials, just buying stuff is more difficult. And now there's a tax on it because you've got to import it and all of that stuff. So all of that, and so that becomes, there's an all-pervasive kind of about everything all of the time. It's quite hard to encompass. And then so that's quite that's wearing on your sort of general everyday demeanor. But as for looking forward to doing, I'm really looking forward to. So this is a really great thing. So this will mean almost nothing to anybody that doesn't live in the UK, but I'll just be selfish for a tiny moment. Please one of the really good things about COVID, really great thing, is that the UK, and I'm sure Canada is too, but probably not quite as good, is a really great place. And there's loads of really great stuff. Yeah. And during COVID, because we couldn't travel or we didn't want to travel, we discovered so many cool places all over the UK. So I've been collecting islands That's one of the things I've been doing. So I've been going and visiting islands. You know this because you've seen.
I've got a postcard from you.
Yeah.
From an island.
We've been collecting islands. So I've been to the Outer Hebrides. So I've been to Uist, and I've been to Shetland, and I've been to Fula. I've been to Fula, which is 2.5 hours west of an island that's 10 hours north of the mainland. So it's so far away. It's the most remote inhabited island in the UK.
Wow.
It's got a pop. We when we went, we added 10% to the population when we went there to stay for the week.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So these things, so that's been a really positive thing because it's meant I've had to stay in the UK rather than go abroad and travel, which is really great environmentally. It's good for the economy because we're putting my pounds back into our own economy, and I've seen some of the most terrific places in the UK.
And how's Cheryl doing?
She's fine. Yeah.
Say hi for me.
I will do. Yeah.
And the boys, of course. Gosh.
Yeah. They're big ugly units.
They're big ugly units.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I'll see if I can call one of them to get them to come upstairs.
Yeah, that'd be great. They'll probably be like, "Who the fuck is Christina?"
Yeah. No, you won't get Frank, but you might get Johnny. Okay. Frank won't do anything. I'll see if I can get one of them to come upstairs.
We might get Frank. Tell him I have his postcards here.
Hello. Do you want to come upstairs and say hello? Bring Johnny too. Okay.
Bring the postcards.
Yeah, you can. But Frank won't want to come in the loft, will he? Okay.
Oh, he won't.
He won't come up the. I'm in the loft space.
Yeah, I could tell.
There's a open ladder to get up the stairs, which Frank won't come up.
Oh, that makes sense. He's just being wise.
He doesn't like the open ladder thing. He's not very because he's a bit shaky on his feet, as you know. So he doesn't like the open ladder and climbing up. And then if you get him up, you can't get him down. When we were in Amsterdam, we went in a windmill, and he climbed up it, and then he couldn't come down because he didn't know how to get down because he couldn't. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny.
Hello.
How's it going? Can you hear? Oh, you can't hear me, eh? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'll just turn it up. One sec.
Hey, Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God. What did you call your son earlier? A big...
ugly unit.
Yeah, he is not a big ugly unit. He's a big handsome unit. What
He's
a
taller
jerk!
than me now.
What a jerk your dad is. Yes, gosh, you look great. Oh my God, yeah.
He's taller than me now as well.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So what are you
That's why
up
he's
to?
such a big ugly unit.
Like what's your past? What do you do for fun?
Sports.
Like
I
what?
play rugby and football.
That is so British.
Yeah.
Those two things.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Dude, that's awesome. Good to see you.
Oh, you are honored. Frank's coming upstairs.
Awesome. I'm going to show him what I've got. Frank! Buddy! Cheryl! Hey, Frank.
Say hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank. Look what I've... Do you know what I've got here, Frank? Do you know what these are?
She's been reading them out to me, Frank. All your postcards. One of which you said that she's got a weasel bum face.
Frank, they're brilliant and they make me smile. And do you still have my postcards, Frank?
Yes, we do.
Well, sometime, Frank, you should read them back to me. I don't know, but your burns are really good. Like, this is a good one. Christina, my cat licks its bum, and so do you. And you know what? You're not wrong, Frank. You're not wrong. I love our postcards.
Okay, good to see you.
Good to see you too, guys.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll send you a postcard, Frank. Ciao.
Bye.
I don't want to say goodbye to you. Oh, I don't want to say goodbye to you.
Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin. and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day.
Hi, Christina. My name is Jeff Robson, calling from a show called Tell the Band to Go Home here in Winnipeg. I just wanted to phone you. I know it's your birthday today. Wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Tell you that I've been listening to the podcast. Love the podcast. I figure if I leave one of these messages, it's the only way I'm ever going to get on the podcast. So I'll try, throw that out there. I love you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a happy birthday. Love the show. I like to think I'm an inspiration for the show, really, but I'll just go on believing that. You have a nice day. I love the show. Keep up what you're doing. Can't wait for the new record. Say hi to Dale. We love him too. Thanks. Bye.
Speaking of incredible supporters and radio hosts and podcast hosts, that was my dear friend Jeff Robson from Winnipeg. Hey Jeff, thanks for the birthday shout-outs. I'm a bit late to responding here, but better late than never. Folks, if you love listening to radio and podcasts, please check out Tell the Band to Go Home. tellthebandtogohome.com is Jeff's website. He's always promoting great music, and he's a great guy. And Jeff, I saw that you have read How Music Works by David Byrne. A great read for anyone curious about how music works. I love that book. I was reading it. I started reading it back in 2015-14 when I was prepping for my album It'll Be All Right and thinking about how to present it and whatnot. And I do reference that book quite a lot just for inspiration. And so anyway, thanks Jeff for calling in. Best of love to you. Hope to see you soon. And thank you for all the support over the years. Thanks for listening to A Chat with Heart podcast. Produced and written by me, Christina Martin, and co-produced and engineered by Dale Murray. Check out Dale's website, dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, and I Don't Want to Say Goodbye to You, were written by me and recorded by Dale Murray. You can find my music on Bandcamp and all the places you stream music. Visit my Patreon page to become a monthly or yearly supporter of this podcast and my music endeavors. If you're new to Patreon, it's a membership platform that helps creators get paid. Sign up at patreon.com/Christina Martin. I would love it if you had time to share, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to A Chat with Heart on all the places you listen to podcasts. Wishing you, my little heartbeats, a great day.